Okay, we have a 1750 battle report for you today. I've got my foot Eldar. Seen it before. Against Space Marines. There's some kind of like veterans inside there with Pedro. There's a librarian flying around with those guys. Stern Guard and that Rhino back there. Some, I think, tactical squad in here. Just an empty Razorback. It was bought for the squad that's inside the Land Raider, but it's just chilling on its own. This guy's got las cannons on the sides. They were left at home, but he does have las cannons. And some scout guys. There's one objective over here, and my objective is over here. It's capture and control. I've got my Pathfinders here. Pathfinders over here. Unit of Guardians with scatter laser. Guardians with EML. Wraithguard with Eldrad. Avatar. Both Wraithlords and 3 Warwalkers. They're all hiding behind this building because my opponent is going to go first, unless I can steal initiative. Trying to steal initiative. No, I got a 2. So on to turn 1 with Space Marines. Okay, so rounding up top of turn 1 for Space Marines. Vehicles blasted forward. Cruising speed, cruising speeds, cruising speed. Assault Marines with the Librarian jumped forward or only ran 1 inch. Those guys popped out of the vehicle for some reason. I'm not sure what the strategy there is, but we're going to find out. This thing just went 12 inches over here, trying to get close to my dudes. I've kind of put them very dangerously over here. I was debating them putting them way in the corner, but then they'd only have that to shoot at, and I need them to shoot at other things too. What happened? Shooting from those guys, shooting from the vehicle, missile and stuff into here. Blew away one guy after all the cover saves, 2+ cover saves, so one guy died. Wasn't enough to do anything else, but that was it. We are on to bottom of turn 1 for Eldar. Rounding up bottom of turn 1 for Eldar. What happened? Some shooting from this guy combined with missile over here blew up that. Oh, looks like the Space Marines have fallen back. We blew this thing up and actually just wrecked it. Those guys popped out. Shooting from snipers, scatter laser walkers. All under there, blew away 6 out of the 4 guys, and the last 4 are falling back now. They're falling back 7 inches somewhere. That was all we were able to achieve. Fired this guy at the Land Raider there, but the Bright Lance missed, and the missile couldn't roll high enough to glance. So needed that Bright Lance to hit, but it didn't. So be it. These squads moved up, ran 6 inches, moved up, ran 4 inches. Fortune on there, Fortune on here. Guide failed on these guys, actually. I rolled 6/6/5 for my Runes of Witnessing, so just, uncharacteristically, but so be it. And that is it. We've moved forward like a spear towards them. We know that they're going to come in and probably try to fight us. We're going to see what happens. Okay, so rounding up top of turn 2 for Space Marines. What happened? These guys just popped out, ran up to the wall there. They had to run to get to the wall. They're trying to get cover against most of my army here. Those Stern guys stood where they are and used poison weaponry against my Wraithguard, ignoring my toughness. However, I made all my saves. They only forced, I think, a couple of saves, some bad shooting. And, of course, with 3+ rerollable, it's just not going to get through that easily. Those guys moved up, ran a little bit, the guys with jetpacks. This thing over here, rolled over here, put some shots in here, only got 1 wound through, but, of course, I failed it. 2+, and I rolled a 1, so 1 guy died. Sucks over there, but Avatar took a bunch of shots, took only a few wounds from that thing, maybe 1 or 2 wounds from this thing, and somehow was down to 2 wounds because my rerollable 4+ invulnerables and rerollable 3+ are just not working out for him. He decided to just make it a tougher game for himself. What's wrong, little puppy dog? What's wrong, little guy? Come on. All right, it is on to bottom of turn 2 for Eldar. Back in a bit. Okay, rounding up top of turn 3, middle of top of turn 3, because there's an exciting combat starting. Squad of Pedro Cantor and I think 4 dudes and 2 remaining stragglers. One of them's Power Fist, though, going up against the Wraithguard and Eldrad. pretty exciting over there. What happened on the rest of the turn? These guys moved forward. Tons of shooting into the Wraithguard. 2 of them died from some kind of cool psychic power. Oh, we actually forgot to make you roll the 3rd dice. Look how generous I am. Ah, damn it. Okay, well, whatever. It's my fault. I don't usually forget to make my opponents roll against Runes of Warding, but it cost me this time. Otherwise, some shooting up here, but they made their cover save. Shooting, yeah, tons of shooting at those guys. Shooting over here, but cover saves made. Basically, everyone just blasted forward. Those guys came up, and I guess they ran over there or something. All right, so back in a bit. Okay, so rounding up that combat, brutal combat for Eldar. These guys just power weapons everywhere, rolling 6s, needing 6s, still getting it anyways. There's a relic blade in there, which made it a lot easier to wound my guys. But on 4s, of course, seem to hit with everything and wound with everything. Just the way it goes, right? This Power Fist has only a few attacks, but of course gets them all in. So we lost like 6 dudes. One of which was my guy with the invulnerable, just because I started trying to save wounds and it didn't work. But so be it. So we lost combat by 3, made some saves, of course. Because we're fearless, we get to reroll the armor saves. Irrelevant, but you know, we're getting creamed over there, so. Insanity. Insanity continues. Yeah, this game is quickly going away from us because of this one failed combat. So be it. We're going to see what happens. Bottom of turn 3 coming up. Middle of bottom of turn 3 wrap up. Combat continues here. Avatar got in there, went around, and charged the unit and Pedro. So Pedro's unit touching Pedro and one of the guys in the unit. What else happened? We fired, we doomed this unit. We failed on Fortune on our unit there. Pretty nasty. What happens? We fired Warwalkers. Those guys, whoever was in range. The big guys. This guy had no cover against them. Snipers. We only managed to kill 5 of those guys. There's still 2 left, but we did manage to whittle them down a lot. We blew away the 2 remaining guys there. We were just in range with these guys. So the snipers sniped through them. They had cover, of course, but so be it. These guys just moved out from here and ran 4 inches. I need them to go towards that objective because things don't look pretty good over here. They don't look too good over here. And that was about it. So we're going to see what this exciting combat does. See if the Avatar can put some hits into stuff. So back in a bit. So rounding up that combat, definitely a lot better for Eldar this time around. Avatar just killed the 2 guys in the unit. So killed the guy with the relic blade that was touching Eldrad. Eldrad, as a result, wasn't able to fight because he wasn't touching anyone from that unit or within range of anyone from that unit anymore. But so be it. One of my Wraithguard died. 2 of those guys died, and so they lost combat by 1, but they stuck around. They're both stubborn, so we continue on for the next turn. Top of turn 4 coming so rounding up. Middle of top of turn 4, because the combat continues here. These guys flew in, charged in. They're going to try to kill Eldrad. They're helping Pedro fighting Eldrad and the Avatar and the Wraithguard over here. What else happened? Shooting from the snipers, from Heavy Bolter into here, wiped away 5 guys, but luckily we're fearless from the Avatar, so he's kind of holding a fearless bubble over here as they advance up. Shooting over here, only 1 wound, even though he had rapid fire. He succeeded to go up on the train there. So 1 guy died, so we didn't have to make a morale save there yet. And that was about it. Most of the shooting was at these guys. Assault cannon fired at the Warwalkers, but couldn't get through. So we're on to this combat in the center of the board there. Pretty exciting. So rounding up that combat, we finally killed Pedro. It took a lot of attacks, though. It took all the Avatar attacks. It took attacks from him, and finally it took one of my Wraithguard to get through his crazy saves that he kept making, because Pedro had, I think, a power fist. But eventually we put 2 wounds into Pedro, killed him, took 1 wound in return. 1 Wraithguard died from the not power fist, something else over here killed him. But we won combat by 1. They stuck it out in here because a lot of things are stubborn. These guys did run away, but we caught them. They took a save, but they passed it. And we continue on. So bottom of turn 4 coming up. Okay, middle of bottom of turn 4 over here. We managed to succeed on Doom on those guys. Failed to Doom himself and his unit. With Fortune. Pardon me. Failed to Fortune. This guy is charging into there, so the combats continue. He's touching the Librarian, so we're going to try to kill that guy. Shooting from the Warwalkers. Shooting from these guys. Shooting from these guys who moved up. 1 billion saves on those guys, but they went to ground. So with their camo cloaks, they have 2+, and they only failed 1 save out of something like 14 or 15. So pretty impressive there. That's almost Eldar levels of trickery there. This guy, unfortunately, failed his Wraith Sight roll, because I've been rolling for Wraith Sight for these guys ever since the Warlock died in that unit, and they passed it the last few turns, but now this guy failed. This guy succeeded, though, so he's in there. He's just out. He's like 9 inches away from there, so unfortunately, so be it. And we're going to see what happens in that combat. I decided to fire these guys instead of trying to chicken them away from this thing, just because I need shots. That's the last troop my opponent has, so I got to try to get him off there. Okay, so rounding up that combat, we managed to murder them all. Avatar just chopped the Power Fist and the 1 trooper. Eldrad chopped the 1 trooper, the other trooper from the flying unit, and the big guy just slaughtered the Librarian. Librarian tried to kill Eldrad, but couldn't get through his invulnerable save. So 5-inch consolidation, 6-inch consolidation, 5 inches, but we went back so that we'd put both of these guys in Wraith Sight range, so that we wouldn't have to worry about them going cuckoo. And we're going to the top of turn 5 now. So rounding up top of turn 5 for Space Marines. What happened? This thing tank shocked over here. We're fearless from the Avatar, so we just moved away. Shooting from that vehicle there, gunned into here with massive cover, killed one guy after all the cover saves. This guy fired into there, but couldn't quite kill anybody. Decided not to fire at these guys because they're no longer a threat. And Heavy Bolter fired into here, but didn't kill anybody. So, we're going to push forward. I don't think we're going to get close enough to actually contest, so we're going to have to just shoot that unit completely off that objective. It's going to be a tough thing to do, but we're going to try. Okay, so rounding up bottom at turn 5. These guys moved up, fired up there. Eldrad fired his power up there. Everything in my army, literally that could, fired in that unit. They made something like, I forced something like 40 saves on it. The final hurrah was one guy left. I fired these guys. They forced 12 saves on him, and he passed every single one. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then he makes his leadership check, leadership A. So now, if the game ends, he's actually gonna tie because he made something like 40 saves, 12 saves on one guy. 12 on one guy. Unbelievable. Let's see if the game ends on a 1 or 2. Nope. No, game continues. All right. Well, there is some justice in the world. So yeah, the fact that it finally went on, I think I'm not going to get that guy. So what happened? Top of turn 6, everything stayed where it was, except this guy moved up here to make it a little bit more of a blocker there, and just some shooting blew away one of these guys from the Las Cannon, Las Plaz over here, blew one away, and Heavy Bolter fired into here, actually killed my one Wraithguard, failed as a rollable 3+. So just Eldrad's on his own now. Luckily, he's fearless from the Avatar being nearby. So bottom of turn 6, we just called the game because with these guys, we doomed that guy up there. With these guys firing in, they finally killed him. He had 2 lives, but not 3 lives. So we managed to gun that down, and we just ended it right there. We just pushed everything forward into that area. The last trooper dead. So thanks for the game. Appreciate it. Thank you. So game ends 1-0 for Eldar.